All right, and this is the magic where everyone turns their camera on. So happy Monday, everybody. I love this. You guys always wait till like the last minute to turn your cameras on. Remember, see and be seen business. So look, we have a little more than like 2 weeks left in the year. And what I'm going to tell you is these next 2.5 weeks are going to be the most important 2.5 weeks of your life. Pretty bold statement for a Monday. And let me tell you why. As these next 2.5 weeks come up, there are going to be holiday parties. There's Hanukkah, there's Christmas, there's New Year's. There's so many things that can bring you out of your momentum and out of your goals. And, you know, once an object is in motion, it stays in motion. That's generally with people and in real estate. Because if you just take this time and check out and then try to start again in January, you're going to have a problem, right? You're getting into a market that's filled with uncertainty and doubt. And everywhere you go, there are articles that just drive hysteria and fear into people. And it's very easy to get sucked into that. And if something isn't going the right way for you, it's going to feed it. So this is time to really be strict on your habits and your routines and be disciplined. And the days that you're going to work, make sure you get your work done. Today, we're going to unveil, finally, I'll give you the plan. Well, not exactly. We have to go through it today and tomorrow, and then we'll send it out to you guys. But we actually have a plan that you can fill in and follow. Look, as this year comes to an end, you just have to look in the mirror and ask yourself, who do I want to be next year? And whoever that person is, you have to start living that today. You don't have time to wait. You know, I've been using this analogy is, what's the most important piece on a chessboard? And most people say the king, right? Because if your king is checkmate, you lose, but it really isn't. It's the queen. The queen provides you the most versatility, the most growth, the most different moves, can do the most different things. And as a business owner, you know, people look at protecting the queen where most agents look at protecting the king. What do I mean by that? Is when you're protecting the king as a real estate agent, you're protecting cost. You're protecting your bank account. And you're not thinking about things properly. When you're protecting the queen, you're thinking about that KPI of how much does it cost to run my business and life every month, and you make decisions through that. So as you enter into next year, this is how I really want you all to approach things, because there's so much opportunity to grow in your business, to have a better life, as long as you just apply thinking through this business a little bit differently than you have over however many years you've been in business. You know, in doing this, I went away this past weekend to a vision retreat. And the retreat's all about how do you create like a concrete 3-year vision for yourself and your team and ultimately your community. And in doing this, part of it is, and this will start kicking off where this is really looking at yourself, right? Because if we can't really dig down deep into ourselves and understand ourselves, be self-aware, really know what our limitations are and everything else, how much can you really grow? You can't. However you are in your human life, as I would say, will show up in your business in more aspects than you realize. And I know in doing this, it was probably the hardest thing I ever did in my entire life, both professionally and personally. I started writing, I just kept going. And the theme that our coach said, she said, be in the stretch, like stretch yourself out in this. And I love seminars. Like, honestly, like I could go to a seminar every weekend. I'd be very happy. Right. And 10 times I wanted to leave because I had to look at myself and find every limitation, every flaw and everything. And I learned like how it drives my personal life, my relationships, the things I do at work. But it was hard. 10 times I wanted to leave. And then that night I didn't sleep the whole night. But at the end of it was this beautiful clarity on like who I was, what I needed to do, where the gaps were. And if you like it, I can share. We have a very concrete vision that everyone's aligned around. So our vision for all of you is to unlock your promise, help you live more fulfilled lives personally and professionally by building on top of Compass, the first end-to-end platform that tells you what to do, when to do it, how to do it, and does it for you. So all of my team now is this selling agent what to do, when to do it, like down to giving you guys schedules, time blocks, how to do it, and then doing it for you. That's our dream. And that's always been my dream. I've never been able to verbalize it or contextualize it, but that's the power of doing these type of exercises. So like for everyone that's here next year, it's what to do, when to do it, what to do, when to do it, how to do it, and having it done for you. because that's what will really unlock your promise of who you really want to be. Because even no matter how many sheets and things we give you, we need to eliminate every restriction. So that's our vision next year. We're working on hiring a ex-Compass product expert so we can run multiple tool trainings a week when we find the right person. So like our goal is to fuel everything into these programs and all of you. So I'm going to go through this business plan at a very high level today. Tomorrow, we're going to do more of an open style Q&A. And then at the end of it, that's our time together for the year. We reopen again January 14th. I would love if all of you came back and that we've earned that opportunity, and that you make sure in the next 2 weeks before Christmas that this is completed and that you take the time to put the things into your schedule like we share. Sound good? But I see everyone has this serious look on their face. That means you guys are actually listening. It has to change for you. You cannot keep operating in the same way that you always have. We've given you every different thing I believe that you know how to do it. Over the last month, we've literally done real examples, having shared things, showed you how to think through them, giving you the templates, the framework, examples. Like our team has put an exceptional amount of work into putting this together for you and making what I believe is an actual plan that people can follow. Because we all know the story about the old business plans. Nobody does them. So without further ado, I know I've made you wait long enough. Our 2023 business plan. So the first sections I shared is knowing your why. What's your motivation for reaching goals and what are you most excited? When you look at something that's your why, if this thing borderline doesn't bring tears to your eyes and make you cry, it's not anchored enough. And I'll tell you why. Your reason for being, your why of why you work, your why of what you want in your life has to be so powerful that the idea of that happening is far worse than the temporary comfort that you have in not doing something one day. I'll say that again. Your why has to be so powerful. Your motivation for what you're doing next year has to be so powerful that it trumps any excuse or comfort you have in a moment for just not doing something. So like when you have to make calls or anything else like that, your why has to be so powerful that it gets through that. Does that make sense to everybody? So like, why am I going to reach my goals? Personally, well, I don't know if I write, oh, I want to have a business, I want to go on vacation. It can't be something that you can negotiate, right? Like we don't negotiate goals. If I was writing my personal why, I would say, why am I doing this? That if I effectively don't execute my business plan, I'll lose more time with my children than I already do. That's a reason to do something. And I would write in more vivid details. I only see my kids now, because I'm separated, is on these days, or divorce, whatever you want to call it. These are the only times I see them. So if my business isn't organized, it's not thoughtful, I don't keep the promises to myself and the time blocks, it will spill into the time I have them. And by the time they're 18, 90% of the time is already gone. So I'm going to sit down when I do this and I'll factor in all the percentages and everything. I'll say this much of the time I have with my son is done, this much time I have with my daughter's done. And this is why, what I want personally. Same thing with business. Why do you really need this? What was really driving you to do this? Now, your disappointments. Now, your disappointments will be projected and impact your present decisions. But you need this for context of your performance, and the same thing in your life. Like if you talk about your personal life, you can talk about dieting, exercising, time with family, time with friends, being disconnected. In your business, not practicing your skills, not reaching out proactively. Like where do you fall short that you're disappointed in yourself? And the amazing thing is when you identify your disappointments, on the flip side, in your schedule, you can put a bunch of proactive activities that make sure those disappointments aren't there. And at minimum, once a day, you need to read this first page. You need to have that anchoring statement of your motivations and why, and you need to understand constantly where you fell short. Because if not, you'll just do the same shit over and over and over and over again, because that's what we've all done. This is the difference between existing and living. This is the difference between being a business owner and having a business versus having a service and being an agent. Areas of opportunity. What areas of your business currently challenge you the most or you'd like to see immediate improvement? What's missing to grow and scale your business? We talked through all of those things. We've gone through all of this stuff in business planning. What does the next level of your business look like? This is really where you want to paint that vivid picture that says, when I do all the things and keep all the promises to myself, this is what it's going to look like. And then you can start projecting out, right? Like when I get there, what do I do? Right? Present state, future state. It goes down to your schedule. Does this all sound like it makes sense to everybody, right? Based on what we've been talking about? This was a labor of love to connect all of these sessions together. It really was. But I think this is the only thing that'll make sense to people. Identify what hasn't worked, right? So you guys remember this, the business challenge, present state, future state, what actions you need to do, put it in your schedule. This is built out for you. With your clients, the same aspect. The client experience scorecards we went through on like what to do with this, how to do it, and how to implement it in your schedule and identify the skills. So here's where you could take one of the areas and use a mock exercise. Then we also showed you what a mock exercise looks like. Where's the challenge area? Where's the score? The parts you do well, the parts that challenge you the most, identifying the gap, understanding what a 9 looks like, breaking it down, and then creating action items. Level up your skills. What skills do you need? What would be most impactful? And I would put as the number one skill, sharing the market. If you can't share the market with somebody today, both buyers and sellers are like, you have a problem. So that comes down to our 7 keys of effective communication. And Robert and I are doing a session. I'm actually really excited. On Thursday, I'm going into the city and we'll get to sit in the same room. And I miss doing trainings at 95th Avenue. And we're going to walk through, and we built this amazing calculator that will show you why now is the time to buy. And it has all these different modeling and diagrams in it that you just put the information in. And we're going to give you the scripts and the questions to get your buyers to say yes and see the value. Now, daily, weekly actions. Are you documenting every objection that comes up so you can get all the answers to the test? Are you taking a note every time your client asks for information that you promised them, so you make sure to really build it into your process and system? Every time your clients say, what are the next steps are, it's an opportunity to create a better experience, because if your client reaches out to you, it should never be happening. That should not be a thing. Take a breath. Clients' fears and concerns. There's a lot of that out there. And what you're looking for, remember, we're in the pattern recognition business. By being able to effectively track where our fears and concerns are, we could pre-frame all these into our sales process. And any difficulty pitching buyers and sellers, where your active challenges are. The Robert Refkin Agent Action Plan registration form is in the chat if anyone wants to quickly go and register. So remember, these are the best practices once you've identified it. Prioritize what you've documented to the most that will impact you now. Try to commit 30 minutes a week, 4 times a week towards this. Remember, I'm asking you for 2 hours a day to work on your skills, to go through these client servicing challenges, right? And ultimately to do your 5-3-2s and reach out to past clients, centers of influence, other Compass agents, and write handwritten notes. It's not very complicated. And when you're find accountability and role play partners, next year, we're going to work on creating a sheet that everyone could opt into that wants an accountability partner. And look, one of the best benefits is the relationships you foster with each other. So now you can pull a list, you can look at people's markets, you can look at what they're working to role play on, and you can just go on that sheet and reach out to people. And when you're able to effectively overcome the challenge when working on these areas, meaning you have it committed to memory, when they ask the objection, you're like, yes, or the process is built out and they no longer doing it, that's when you move to the next thing. But it's not working at everything at once, it's working at things and getting them to mastery. Skills tracker. For all my Game of Thrones fans, you see the Jon Snow reference, love Game of Thrones. So my team had thrown that in to make me happy. Identify the gap, the solution, what the skill type is, and how the priority is. This is how you prioritize all this stuff. You have it all in one place, so you know how it reflects in your schedule. Track and master your finances. The first part about this is that Kate's data sheet. Do you know where your business is coming from and what percentage of your GCI is from each one? If you don't know that, that is the basis of your entire business. The whole thing. Because this is how you align what you do and what you spend in your schedule and the choices you make to what's actually working and where your money's coming from. Remember, we want to make decisions based on facts, not feelings. Core 4, right? That's the big area that you want to focus on once it's identified. If you have not gone through and understand your budget, I don't know what the hell you're waiting for. It's just irresponsible at this point. You know it, you have the template, just get it done. You have to know your KPIs of money, because if you know your KPIs of money, you know how to protect the queen. And then we can start correlating, well, where am I spending money and where's my business actually coming from? And then you can cut stuff. And remember the process I'm cutting. Have I invested the time to get the most out of what I'm doing? Can I invest the time, and will I invest the time? If you're not willing to invest the time, just don't spend the money. And understanding how you get your ROIs. You could sign up for a year of group coaching. You could come to like 3 sessions a month and you'll still win at the end of it, because everything's gonna be done for you. It's plug and play. And in real estate, for a $3,500 investment for a year, it doesn't take much to get a great ROI. But you have to be willing to commit something to this. Financial check-ins. At minimum, once a week, you should be doing this in the beginning. Once a month for this. We should be reviewing your P&L and finances once a week. How much money did you spend this month? What was most effective? What didn't work? And what do you need to reconsider? Excuse me. This is a way in real time to improve your budget and finances and ultimately your bottom line. Goal setting. Remember, either do GCI or sales volume. If you do sales volume and GCI, you're like, well, if I do 100 million, this is 2.5%, but this needs to be 2% because this is my GCI goal. Just pick one or the other. You're either going to be working towards the GCI goal or sales volume. Either's fine, but don't do both. What are your business goals? Clients, host an event, improve your listing pitch. Remember, whatever your goal is, it needs to be reflected in your schedule, the daily activities that'll get you there. Personal goals. Put them in here, put them in your schedule. What daily systems and structures you need to have? What are the habits you're going to implement? What do you really need to do? Who do I need to be? And what habits does that person need to have to hit all these goals? Your quarterly skills, creating healthy habits. Make sure you plan your coaching, invest in yourself before anyone else. Make sure you set time every week aside to implement what you learn. Time block for your 5, 4, 3, 2, 1s, time block for your follow-up calls, and take time to develop your skills. Master your money. Start weekly if you can, and then transition to monthly. And soup to nuts, that's the plan. Now, I wanted to leave ample time for Q&A. So what questions do you all have? So everyone knows how to do this, and I could leave and you'll all be fine. I don't believe any of you. Amanda.
I just wanted to say this past year, I worked with someone who's not a real estate coach to actually put down all my key values. And she had me think of it like a tree, like your values and what you're really into are your roots. And so I think this exercise is going to be easier for me because I spent time doing that work. And it took me 2 sessions, and I'm happy to share with you what I did. And there might be a way that this might help people, but I've always had a hard time doing business plans. But once I peeled everything back and I really realized not doing the business plan is keeping me from doing what I'm here to do. And I can help more people and feel more purposeful by really knowing where I'm coming from. And that really helped. So I think sometimes you just have to turn off the phone and you actually have to maybe even sit with somebody and give yourself a half hour or 45 minutes, maybe 2 or 3 times to do this. For me, it made all the difference just having another person pushing me. I have a hard time filling these things out on my own, just to be honest. But I wanted to share now that I have this actual roadmap. I'm going to be printing it out just like this business plan. And I'm actually going to go back to carrying a clipboard, which sounds really stupid. But I realized everything's scattered all over my desk, that if I just have that clipboard that I look at in the morning, has all my values, my mission, and then the business plan, that seems like that would be a really easy way to make it work. Or if you're digital, it's that one file on your desktop that before you check email or you do anything, you check in and you read it. But I read my purpose statement and I read my values and everything that I do several times a week. And it's almost like a tuning fork. And stuff's been happening for me lately. And I totally credit the fact that I did that work. And it's taken me 20 years to do it, but I did it and it's evolving.
Gotta do the work. It's simple. Look, I think, everything in life is simple. We can all overcomplicate things. Remember, it's certainty and comfort. This is uncertain and uncomfortable. So start with one section at a time and do it over 12 days. And remember, anything you're putting there, start building out a mock schedule for next year. Put your coaching in, put your skill building in, put your active reach out time. Because you just have to remember one thing. If I was in your town and you were taking me out for those 2 hours a day to look at investment properties, you could not go do anything else. So if you're with a client, you can't do anything else. So why can't you do it for yourself?
It's a good point. And maybe some people like me need another person to bounce the ideas off of. So I don't know if that means getting someone that you sync with, that you feel comfortable with, who could sit with you and look at what you wrote.
Look, I think just finding an accountability partner in the group is essentially would be most helpful, right? Because doing this alone, I agree, can be challenging. We get stuck in our own thoughts. So look, if you want somebody, put your name in the chat. It's like my Tinder for dating and Tinder for coaching, and reach out and do it with somebody. But look, again, like if you're not reaching out and doing it with somebody, you can't do it on your own. What are you really saying to yourself? I'm not capable of this. This isn't for me. I'm not good enough. Asking questions, the 7 keys to effective communication. So we'll have more of these scripts and stuff like that. And some of them are already in there for next year. Does anyone else have any questions? If not, you all get a few minutes back into your calendar for the day. And look, I want to just say a couple of things. One, I want to thank my entire team for this. Tiff and Suze and Andrew and Deborah and the rest of the people here, look, they've done an incredible job of putting all this stuff together for you. Whether it's the business plan, answering all the emails, helping people for the platform, that none of this would be possible without them. I just had the fortunate opportunity to come here and do what I love every single day with all of you, which is help you have better lives and businesses. And the second part is it's all of you. Our business is a direct reflection of you. You guys are the heartbeat. You guys are what makes up this company. And again, I just get to play a small part in it. So for all of you who continue to show up, turn your camera on, always be a yes, go through all the crazy things I keep pushing you to do out of your comfort zone, like you inspire me to show up and be better and to deliver every single day. So thank you for the opportunity to really be part of your lives and be able to make change. Look, the world needs more people that are action doers, that are believers, that are dreamers, and that want to keep the promises to themselves. Because if I can get every person to keep the promise to themselves by just doing all this work for them, that would be the most impactful thing in the world. It would make my heart sing. It would make your heart sing. And that's what we're all going to do together. And this is what it's all about. People Opportunities, hold on. I just have three things: people, possibilities, and opportunities. I believe in all of you as people. I believe in the infinite possibilities in the world for each person. And we're entering a market where there's going to be more opportunities than we've seen in years. So the question becomes is, when you look in the mirror, who are you going to be? What are you going to do? And why is it going to matter? Because if you go back to that whole why and why it doesn't matter strong enough, it doesn't really matter. Look, life is this precious thing that we get one time. And the older you get, the more you think, the more you realize things get taken away from you. Never in my life of in the 9 years I've been a parent, did I ever think that one day would ever go by that I wouldn't sleep in the house with my kids. Never. Never thought so. Is this a good situation for them? Is everyone happier this way? Yes, but still, like, it's different. If I could go back in time, there's no amount of money I would not pay to have things and resources and tools to be able to be more present. Because every day that goes by, every moment that goes by, you're not getting it back. And that's what we all have to realize. So when you're making these time blocks and you show up here, that's what this is all about. It's not about selling another house. Like, you can always make more money, but you can never get back time, especially with the ones you care about the most. So as these holidays approach and all these things are happening and these plans, this is what I urge you the most. Remember that. Because there was a nurse that wrote a memoir on the things people regret most when they're dying. It's about how much time they spent. They spent too much time at work. Our job is to make this simple for you. I think we've done a pretty good job and we can do better. So just know, I'm here rooting for you. I'm here to support you. I will never stop working for you because I work for you. You guys don't, I tell people, we don't have clients, we have a community. And we have the greatest group of people in the world because people really show up with their heart every single day. So a big chunk of my life next year is dedicated. 60% of my week is dedicated to building content and being able to see more of you in person. That's it. I'm like rolling up my sleeves and our entire team is getting to work. We're hiring 2 more people and we are all in on this market. So there's no person that could ever say to me, well, it's easy for you to say, and you're not doing it. Listen, we walk our talk. Our businesses are just like yours. So really, the moral of my story is thank you. Be present. Live each day with open possibilities, love in your heart. Spend more quality time with the people that matter. And realize the only thing stopping you from what you want is yourself. It's nothing else. And we're here to help push you, find people to do it with, and support you the best that we can. So thank you all. Love in my heart. I love you all. Happy Monday. I'll see you all tomorrow. Write down your questions. Everyone needs to write down a question. I'll talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.